Hi Moon Baby, how are ya? So, thank you for bearing with me. This has been a crazy week, as I'm sure you understand. We had 3 separate situations that you wanted me to read for you. So, the first one is, and I'm just going to reference them by the astrological sciences you requested. The first one is the Virgo, and you wanted to know whether or not that particular individual is going to start any more drama in your life. Just a second. I'm going to turn down the background music just a little bit. Okay, maybe a little bit. And I am just kind of focusing on the question that you asked and the situation that you described in your message, which I definitely understand why you would be concerned that that particular individual is going to start more drama. I would be too if I were in your situation. Okay, cards are telling me that they're done. We're going to cut 3 times from right to left. Alrighty, my dear. So, we're going to flip the cards, and we always flip from left to right. And as I've explained to you before, this is what I see and how I feel that the cards need to be read tonight. This is according to the situation that you asked and according to the cards and the surrounding energies. You have the ability to change the course of events by thought, word, and or deed. It just depends on how you choose to handle things according to what I see and how they lay out. So let's do this. First card is 8 of Wands, right side up. Oops. New tripod, bear with me. I have to remember where the camera is. This card represents you in accordance to the question that you asked. Next card is a card that crosses you. I always read this card right side up. This is Strength. Next card, Distant Past Foundation, usually about 6 months behind you. This card is the Novice of Wands reversed. This card is Current Events. This would be about 3 months behind you and about 3 months into the future. This card is the Elder of Pentacles reversed. Next card is the Elemental of Chalices reversed. And that particular card is in the near future, so that's usually about 3 to 6 months in the future. Distant future, which is your next card, is about 6 months into the future. 6 to 9, as the case may be. This is the Two of Pentacles reversed. And we will read cards 7, 8, 9, and 10 as we get to them. And I'll tell you the positions as we get to them. Okay? So, with this first spread, and this is the Virgo that we're talking about, I understand where you're at. This person you have definitely some history with. And right now, where you're sitting financially, and this is interesting that this is coming up particularly because it's almost like you are bracing for the storm to come. I think you know on some level that this isn't over and done with, or you wouldn't have asked the question that you did. And honestly, honey, this is a test for you. There is a lesson here. And I say this because the Strength card is what crosses you. Strength is a major arcana card. And for it to be in this particular position with the question that you asked tells me that this is a lesson that you need to learn. There is something about this situation that you have not learned yet. I don't know what it is. It isn't coming through just from what I see, but we'll see if that maybe comes up a little bit further into the reading. I do know, however, that part of this lesson is that you are stronger than you think you are, and that you are fully capable of dealing with him and whatever BS he decides to dish out your way. And this goes far back. This has been this way throughout the entire course of your relationship. I mean, sure, yeah, you probably had your good points, so you wouldn't have been with this person as long as you were. But overall, he's kind of been this way. Like, just when you think the worst is past, just when you think he is done with his BS, here comes another wave, which is kind of where he's at as far as just general life. It seems like he just can't get enough and doesn't know when to let go. Looking at this, a Novice of Wands, I get the feeling that this goes a little bit deeper. There are some past hurts there. Things that really haven't been let go on either side, although I do get the feeling that you have let it go a little bit better than he has. He's still nursing some old wounds. Okay, there are still some things. I really get the feeling that he picks up and doesn't let a sleeping dog lie, per se. He likes to kind of beat the dead horse, so to speak. The Elder of Chalices and the Elemental of Chalices, both in your current situation and in your near future, tell me that this is an emotional track that is going to keep going. Okay, the reversal of the Elemental of Chalices especially tells me that while you are kind of just over it and you're just kind of done with it, he's not. And this is going to keep going. Don't be surprised if he starts dragging money into it. I think he already has been, because I really get the feeling that perhaps you are a little bit better off financially than what he is, or at least in his mind you are. And sometimes there's a big difference between the two. As far as whether or not he is going to start any more drama, you can almost guarantee it. As for a matter of when, it looks, I stopped myself and interrupted myself because I'm choosing my thoughts and choosing my words. I would anticipate that at least through the new year, you are going to hear from him. He is going to, as he feels stressed out and as he feels that anxiousness, he's got to have somebody to take it out on, and you are what's comfortable. So the question becomes, are you going to draw your boundaries and decide enough is enough? So let's look at the remaining 4 cards, and we'll go from there. So card number 7, again, represents you, and this is more you as you kind of move through it. And this is the Empress. So it does look like you are finally in a position mentally where you are ready to just say enough is enough. I'm drawing my boundaries and I'm not going to put up with your crap anymore. Okay. Next card is your environments, which is the Stars. Honey, you have a lot of help from your guides, a lot of help from guardian angels, and even a few people who have passed over that are telling you that you need to be done with this guy. Sorry, the camera's shaking a little bit because my new tripod sits on the floor and my dogs keep kind of shaking it a little bit. Anyhow, the positioning of these cards especially says that there is a lot of outside help coming in from higher powers. Where it sits crossing you, specifically representing you and your environment, absolutely, you have a lot of spiritual help, a lot of guidance coming to you. And they're giving you signs. They are giving you little murmurings. The synchronicities are lining up. They're telling you the direction you need to move with this. You need to pay attention, and they are starting to give you signs that you just cannot miss. This is your hopes and or fears. And 10 of Swords reversed. This tells me that for whatever your reason may be, you are afraid to cut some ties, to burn those bridges, to walk away. The question becomes why? Why are you so afraid to let this entire situation be done? This is a person that has been in your life for quite a while. What has you hanging on? I understand that, at one point in time, yes, there may have been kids in play or whatever, but is it really to the point where you can't draw boundaries? Because honestly, I'm not picking up on anything that is saying to me, no, this is a situation where she can't draw boundaries and where she's really stuck between a rock and a hard spot. This is all entirely, at this point, this is your choice. Let's look at the final card. This is the final outcome according to the situation and that we're asking about and according to the question that you asked. 7 of Pentacles right side up. You will be absolutely fine. In fact, you will be better off if you just lay your boundaries and either walk away or hold to them than you would be where you're sitting currently. Okay? And in fact, looking at the progression of this reading and looking at the progression of the cards, I think that's actually the way that you're leaning, and it's almost like you're looking for permission. And if that's what you need, honey, you don't need permission. You've got permission from your guides. You've got permission from the angels that are around you, and the people that you love and care about that have passed over, that still love you and want what's best for you. They can see things that you can't see and are aware of things that you aren't aware of. And they are all telling you, you need to just be done with the situation. Don't fish or cut bait. Don't shit or get off the pot. You need to just be done. So that's that particular situation, and you asked for a total of 3 readings. So we're going to move on to number 2, which is the Capricorn. The Capricorn is another particular individual that's been in your life for a hot minute. But this one is more one that, as you told me, has been kind of in and out a little bit more than the Virgo. In fact, it's more out and now is back in, if my understanding is correct on that one. And you want to know if this individual is as serious as he claims, and if you're just being paranoid, or if dude is a little bit of a player. And if you're being played for a fool. So we're going to flip. Give me just a second. As I focus on that particular individual and that situation. I have to clear out the old energies and shuffle in the new. You certainly got a lot on your plate relationship-wise. Got a lot of different players and a lot of different factors going on. So, Mr. Capricorn. Okay, the cards are telling me they're done. Cutting 3 times from right to left. Alrighty, my dear. Let's focus on this one. So, this card is the 3 of Chalices, right side up. That represents you. This card is the Magician. Distant Past Foundation, 9 of Chalices, right side up. Current Events, Current Situations, 7 of Swords, right side up. Near Future, Ace of Chalices reversed. This is a little more distant in the future. This is Judgment, right side up. 7, 8, 9, and 10 we'll read in a minute. So right now, this shows you just kind of hanging out, having a good time. You aren't set with any one particular person. You are just in a really good place, at least as far as this individual's perception of you. And I also pick up that their perception of you is that you're not really looking for anything serious, so neither are they. The Magician, and it's interesting that this is 2 readings back to back, that you have had a major arcana is what crosses you. This one is also a lesson. This is a little bit different of a lesson. This lesson, and you will pick up on other lessons that you need to learn beyond just what I got into with the cards with the last reading and this one, as you think about it. Okay, and I'll explain what I mean in just a moment. But again, a different set of questions. This one has, and lessons, excuse me. This one has a little bit more to do with how you are portraying yourself and how you are coming across to other people. This particular person is just has a different perception of you than I think what you realize you are projecting yourself as. Now keep in mind, those are 2 very different things. You project yourself as one thing, but what you think you say and what he perceives you as saying, or how he perceives you as coming across, are 2 entirely different things. You can't control how he perceives you. That's on him, not on you. But because of that, and because this individual has dealt with a lot of strong women who can stand on their own 2 feet in the past, I'm telling you, he isn't as serious as what he is telling you he is. At least as the way it's currently lining up, I don't think you're being paranoid. I'm seeing you're walking. He's getting ready to walk. He's already packing his bags. He's already starting to shift out of your life. The Ace of Cups reversed says the same thing. If you are too attached to this guy and you have too many emotions attached to this guy, then you're going to end up with a broken heart. The thing is you already know it. So at the end of the day, when it comes right down to it, you don't kick yourself for falling for some player's BS, because you're already seeing the signs. You're already paying attention to the signs. So in this particular situation, start kind of pulling back a little bit. Now, the question becomes, if this is somebody you actually really want to be with and somebody you actually really want to dedicate your time to, how do you fix this? And to be honest with you, I don't think that you can. I think he's going to keep telling you what he thinks you want to hear for as long as he thinks that he can get away with it, and as long as he thinks that you are going to buy into it. And a large part of the reason why I say that is the 2 major arcana cards, the Magician and the Judgment, and their positioning in the cards. A lot of this has to do with this particular individual and how he feels that he can treat you. You know what you are willing to accept. And just by looking at the cards and the feeling I'm getting, I'm willing to bet that you're kind of just done with this entire situation. You're kind of done with being used and abused and thrown away. And frankly, I don't blame you. Just looking at this spread and that situation, I do not have a good feeling about this. And I definitely feel like the longer you are in this situation, the more unhappy, the more miserable you are going to be. Next card. This is the lineup and how things are starting to play out and things that are affected by the surrounding cards. Remember that. This is you. 3 of Wands. And honey, you're already looking elsewhere. You are already, you know that he is playing games. You're aware of it. And you obviously are hoping that you're wrong, but she's just cruising. She's looking elsewhere. So let's look at environments. The Elemental of Pentacles. If you are giving this gentleman money, you need to stop. If you are supporting him at all financially, you need to stop. And the only reason why I phrase it that way is because of that particular card and the position, along with the surrounding cards in the situation, said that there is some sort of financial, whether it's gain or loss. In this particular situation, it more feels like loss that is associated with this person. So let's look at your hopes or fears. Ace of Wands, right side up. Looking at that, honestly, I get the feeling like in fact, I don't even get the feeling. I know you're afraid that you're wrong, and you're not wrong. You're dead on the money, and you know it. So the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? Final outcome. The Empress reversed. In conjunction with the other cards that are in this spread, you're not happy about it. You actually saw a future with this guy, but you're not afraid to send him his walking papers. You just have to do it. So we're going to pick up this particular one. Some of these situations and some of the ones I've read for you previously, a lot of the theme that seems to be coming through with them is like, almost like you need the validation or you need the permission to proceed according to what you feel like you need to do. And honestly, more often than not, you're told, and I know Rich has told you the same thing, to follow your gut and do what you need to do. This is the direction you need to move. You just got to follow through with it. So we're clearing out the old energies from the Capricorn, and I am going to focus on the Aries. The Aries is a little bit unique of a situation. And honestly, even just shuffling the cards, I have more of a feeling like this one is going to go somewhere, but we'll see. We'll see what the cards have to say. So, give me just a second. There we go. Sun reversed. Speaks volumes, doesn't it? Excuse me. Especially considering the other two readings. This tells me a lot about your mental state right now. We have, there's that elemental of chalices again. And that's what crosses you. Distant past foundation, the novice of pentacles. Current events or current situations, the Elder of Wands. Oop, throw on the cards. Near future is the Four of Pentacles. Distant is the Devil right side up. That's interesting to me that that card comes in that particular situation. So let's look at the cards. The Sun reversed largely speaks of the fact that you're not really happy with where you're at, especially not with the other two that we were reading about. That particular situation is telling me that you're really hopeful that the Aries is the direction that you need to move. Honestly, looking at the distant past foundation, you've been used and abused before. Okay, that much is obvious. The Novice of Pentacles is a very good indication of that. However, there is somebody waiting in the wings that is not a fire sign that you aren't even paying attention to. This one's a little bit older than you. So honestly, I unless that particular Aries happens to have a lunar or have a rising sign that is, I want to say, an air sign, then yeah, this isn't the person. Is he on the cusp? Because this particular individual, no, I'm telling you, this Elder of Wands is not the Aries. This is somebody else that you aren't paying attention to. He's right in front of your face, and you're more focused over here than what's right here. Four of Pentacles. The Aries, no, I don't think he's interested in more than just friendship. The going theme with these guys seems to be that they all want to see how much they can get out of you before you finally decide enough is enough. And this Aries is no different. The Four of Pentacles combined with the Devil looking at him. He's clearly interested in what's in it for him. Okay, that is clear. He's not into what he can provide for you, how he can best interact with you and be a part of your life. This is more of a what's in it for me type of mentality. And I don't see you being happy in this situation. I just don't. Let's look at the rest of the cards, because we're going to talk about a couple of themes I picked up on just from the first two readings and now looking at this one. So we have this particular card, which represents you in accordance to the questions that you asked in the surrounding cards. This is the Initiate of Chalices. This, to me, especially with the positioning of it, says that you are in a position to take a new approach to your romantic life than what you have taken previously. This says that you've been approaching your romantic relationships in the same fashion for a while now. Take a step back and approach it in a different way, because the outcome will be a little bit different if you do. And she's ready for new beginnings and ready for that new approach. You just haven't figured out how to get there yet. This is your environments, and your environments say on the surface you're happy. On the surface, you have a great family life. You have a great, well, for lack of a better term, environment. You, for all intents and purposes, what your life is like right now is actually pretty happy. You're pretty content in almost all aspects other than your romantic life. That's okay. However, let's see what we can figure out to help you get past this hurdle. So we have your hopes and fears. I know, honey, you are so hopeful. You really want this guy to work and whatnot. This is the Elemental of Swords, right side up. Beautiful card. The artwork on this card is amazing. I love it. But looking at it, this tells me that this is the one out of the three situations that I've read. This is the one you were most hopeful for. This is the one that there's that spark and that Twitter-pated and the flutter in your gut and all of that. And while that's all fine and dandy, don't constantly be on the search for the fireworks. Okay? Let's look at the final outcome. Stars reversed. Right here. This isn't where you're meant to be, honey. This is not the person I see you as being happy with. The person I see you as being happy with is kind of waiting patiently in the wings for you. I don't think that he has crossed your path just yet, and if he has, then you friend zoned him. And this isn't the first time that I've said this. In fact, I've actually seen it a lot through my card readings and just people watching and through channeling. I see people who end up, because it isn't their usual type, they end up friend zoning somebody and they end up sticking in a rut. So, as far as the lessons go, something that will help you, because you have some pretty big lessons on your plate right now. You have some pretty big things that are sitting right in front of you that you need to work through. So besides what we have talked about here, the easiest way to determine what you need to learn is to sit back, just kind of clear your head. You can put on some music if you need to, whatever, and ask yourself, what do I need to learn in this particular situation? More often than not, the first few things that come to your mind are exactly what you need to learn in that particular situation. And they are sometimes might seem trivial, but more often than not, they are really, really big. And these lessons that we're talking about with you in these situations are part of a repeated cycle. There's something that each time you try and learn it, it will get progressively harder and progressively harder until the universe eventually takes that 2x4, whaps you upside the head with it, and says, do you get it now, stupid? Been there, done that. It hurts. However, with all of those thoughts running through your head, the going theme is right now you are repeating a cycle with these guys. They are all on the surface not the same, but when you strip away the layers, they boil down to the same type of guy. You definitely have a type. I've read for you before on a romantic level. I've seen this type with you. I think it's time for you, and this is one of the lessons you need to learn, by the way, to reevaluate what your type is and why you keep repeating the cycle. It is also very important that you figure out what you are willing to accept and what you are not willing to accept in those relationships, and what are absolute deal breakers. Because just in this reading and the last two that I did, I haven't come across any absolute deal breakers with you. I really don't feel like you have deal breakers with these particular gentlemen, and that is allowing them to walk all over you. You are a great person, and I happen to really enjoy working with you and really enjoy reading for you. So it's really hard to see those repeated cycles and watching you get hurt over and over and over again. I definitely think that you need to regroup and rethink what you're willing to accept. And I'm going to go a step further than what you requested, and we are going to find out something about the person that's waiting in the wings for you. Give me a second. Interesting. The person that's waiting in the wings for you is being lined up for you by your guides, your angels, and those on the other side. Like, it really looks as though they are all so tired of watching you repeat the same cycles that they are literally dragging this person to you. And the reason why I say that is because the first card I flipped is the moon, right side up. The next card I flipped is a high priestess reversed. And the next card I flipped is the emperor, right side up. 3 major arcanas on a random flip, looking for information about the person that you're supposed to be with. I will tell you, the person is entirely against what you would traditionally think of as your type. He has not been involved in your life romantically before. This isn't somebody that you have a romantic past with. This is somebody who sees you for as you are, warts and all, flaws and all, and likes what he sees anyways. This is somebody who is a bit older and has already kind of started his path in life. He's already gotten his... Sorry, I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. He's already forged his way in life. I don't necessarily think he's retired per se, but he is definitely not a young buck. He's not somebody who is looking to just play around and find that next person to be with, that next person to use. He's past all of that. He's past all of the childhood boyish games. As far as signs, I really feel like this guy is a water sign. Which is interesting because none of these cards are indicative of a sign one way or the other. There's nothing to go by as far as, like, you know, Pisces or anything like that. This is all pure intuition, but I am telling you, this person, I really feel he has very strong water sign in his chart, whether he is a sun sign that is a water sign, or if he is like a lunar or rising sign that is very, very strong in his chart. There is some element there that is a water sign. And the two main elements with him are water and air. I can tell you that just looking at this, looking at the other spreads and everything else, because the other three spreads, he was kind of popping up and I was getting a hint of him. And he was starting to kind of come through a little bit. But, yeah, water and air. Those are the two signs that are really prevalent with this person. He might be on the cusp of a water and an air sign. He very well could be, like I said, have a really strong lunar or rising sign that is either water or air. And it's somewhere in his chart, those two signs are there. And they are very prevalent with this person. So, I hope that answers your question. I did note that you had said that you wished that this would be posted publicly on my channel. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for you. And I will get it uploaded. So I look forward to seeing you. Hopefully I'll see you on my next live. If not, then I'm sure that I'll see you either in my emails or in the comments. Because you and I have been talking for quite a while. So I hope you have a great evening. Love and light to you, Moon Baby.